Now, the pound has enjoyed its worst month in 6 years, as the UK, of course, jills. In other words, bonds issued by the government have seen their biggest sell-off in almost 2 decades as British assets are battered by a gloomy economic outlook and political uncertainty. Sterling registered its sharpest monthly drop against the dollar since 2016, falling by 4.5% in August and weakening by more than 14% this year. And of course, with looming interest rates rises by the Bank of England and the UK heading for a 15-month-long recession at the end of the year, what will it take to save the British economy? Well, a man who knows is our very own Liam Halligan. Liam, thank you very, very much for joining me here. To a layman like me on this issue, it looks like a particularly gloomy picture.
It is a gloomy picture. The pound has fallen against the dollar, in part, Patrick, because the dollar's strengthened a lot. When people get worried about the world, geopolitics, Russia, Ukraine, Chinese cities locking down again with another variant of COVID, that news just coming through, then they put money in the dollar. International institutions, pension funds, insurance companies, big companies, they move their money into a currency that they feel is safe. And the sort of safe haven of last resort is always the dollar. So the dollar's gone up, that means the pound's gone down. The pound has gone down a lot, as you say. It's down 14% this year. Why should we care about that? Now, the usual sort of broadcast news cliche means, if the pound's weak, when you go on holiday, you get less for your money. And of course that's true, and that's important to a lot of people, even though the holiday season is over. The really important thing in this context is that when the pound is weak, we pay a lot more money for our imports, and we import a lot of food, and in particular, we import a lot of fuel in this country, and we import the fuel priced in dollars. Okay. So this is pushing upward pressure on our energy bills, on our petrol bills, on our food bills, because we are big food importers. That's why you and I talking about dollars and currencies matters to GB News viewers and listeners.
Well, absolutely, especially as we look we're staring down the barrel of this cost of living crisis. We're kind of in amongst it, really, something that could well only get worse as well. And I know a lot of our viewers, as you've rightly said there, Liam, it comes out as one of the top issues for them, frankly, the money in their pockets, doesn't it? Like I said, we are hoping to go very shortly to Mark White, who's, I believe, outside the House of Commons for us. Extinction Rebellion are inside there, as we understand it. They're calling for a People's Assembly. Liam, can we go to Mark White? Yes, I believe we can we? Is Mark White? Not yet, no? OK, fair enough. We'll go to Mark White very, very shortly then. But yes, I mean, this Extinction Rebellion issue, of course, is going to be, could well hit people hard. How do you think this kind of relates to what people are going through at the minute with the cost of living crisis? Because a lot of people are saying, not now, OK? We don't need any kind of greater big green levies and all this kind of stuff right now at the minute, do we?
Extinction Rebellion, they've got a certain following among the public, but I think a lot of people will feel, really, now, when we've got these massive energy bills? I mean, Liz Truss has, as and when she becomes Prime Minister on Monday, she said she's going to remove those green levies on our electricity bills, which have accounted for between 10 and 15, even 20% of our household electricity bills. And, of course, Patrick, there's no energy price cap on firms. That's what I've been stressing in my On the Money broadcasts for many months now, that a lot of small and medium-sized enterprises, there is no price cap for them. Their fuel bills are going up 3, 4, 5-fold, even more. That's why I think the public may have, short shrift for protests and so on.
Well, this is it. When we do eventually go to Mark, we'll be getting the kind of security angle on this, because that is a massive issue, OK? PC Keith Palmer, of course, was slaughtered out there by a Paddy not too long ago, right? That is a huge thing about how they've managed to get in and then crucially stay there as well.
Worth saying that the Parliament is risen, so MPs aren't there. We should make that absolutely clear. MPs don't come back to school, if you like, until September the 5th on Monday. OK, all right, we'll go to that shortly. But just in terms of, obviously, the economic impacts at the minute when it comes to things like the energy crisis, etc., today the voting for the next Tory leader closes, right, the next Prime Minister closes. Who do you think, from what you've heard and seen so far, is better equipped to potentially get us out of this, or at least ease that kind of struggle for lots of people? Well, I think Liz Truss, as reflected in the polls of Tory voters, she's well ahead. It seems to be a bit more in touch with what ordinary people are thinking. She's talked a lot more about direct help for ordinary people. She's talked a lot more about tax cuts, in particular, not going through with an increase in corporation tax, reversing Rishi Sunak's increase in national insurance, which is income tax in all but name, in my view. So she sort of spent the money, the notional money, to deliver cake now, right?
Yeah.
Rishi Sunak's whole shtick has been, I'm really cautious, I'm the one who can add up, I'm the financially sophisticated one. I don't think we should be spending all this money now. We've got to be really, really cautious, because if not, the financial markets will take umbrage. That's why, if, you know, sterling keeps weakening, you mentioned in your intro gilt rates. What does that mean? The amount of money that the government has to spend when it borrows money, the interest rates the government pays on the debt that it raises to pay for goods and services and welfare benefits and so on. If those rates start going up, if sterling weakens a lot, then Rishi Sunak is going to start looking like the smart one. And that's why I think it's really important that he isn't going to go in Liz Truss's government. He's going to sit on the back benches. And when I was a kid, there were these things called the gnomes of Zurich. What do the investors think? Will they dump sterling? Will they allow our economy to continue? It's a phrase, Patrick, we're going to be hearing a lot more of this autumn and winter.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first, Liam. Thank you very, very much.